Welcome to In the Know and Black Girl podcast presents Enter the Chat, a special video series that looks inside the thoughts of our private group chat. This episode, we have the founder and creator, the beautiful spirit behind Lit Brooklyn, Miss Denequa Williams is here, and we're talking about hustle. So let's jump right into it. Denequa, my sister, how are you, my girl?
I'm so good. First of all, I'm gonna need that intro for every interview I do.
Got you.
So
I got you. I
she's
will
let's save it.
I'll make the drop for you so you can like have it like you can drop it when you like put stuff out and slap.
Perfect.
And slap.
Perfect.
Well, we're so thankful that you could come on today. Thank you so much for always being there for us. We all love you so much. And we're so proud of you. This year has been incredible for your brand. It has been incredible for your growth. So we're happy to have you on today representing tons of business owners and entrepreneurs and hustlers as we dig into this conversation, because so many Black women are out here killing it right now, COVID and all, as entrepreneurs. And so we're so happy to have you here. But overall, first, how are you doing right now as an entrepreneur in COVID? What a year it has been, but how has this year changed you as a businesswoman and as a hustler?
That's a really good question. I will say that 2020 has definitely stretched us in ways that we didn't even know that we could stretch. I think the word of the year would definitely be to pivot. If it has taught myself as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, anything, is that you, one, do not put all your eggs in one basket, and two, always be ready for the inevitable. Clearly, COVID took us all by storm, and my business is solely e-commerce. And when it happened, I kind of was just seeing how the world was unfolding. My first thing initially was not to push a product, not to sell a product, because I know that people had lost their jobs. People were not able to buy groceries. So with me not pushing the product, what I realized were people were still buying candles. And it was more so my customer showing me and the world that candles are an essential product, especially since we're all going to be home at this moment. So no, nothing could have prepared me for what 2020 brought. But I feel like my customers and just the way that the world went is what navigated and what is what has me here today, honestly.
So, Denequa, can you walk us through Lit Brooklyn? Just turned 4 years old, everybody. Walk us through the last 4 years.
We're turning 5.
And you're turning 5. You're about to walk into 5. So now, Jesus, walk us through the last 5 years of what it's been like to be a business owner and then that transition into a pandemic as a business owner.
What has it been for the past 5 years? It's been a wave of emotions. I think that every year is something new. My word, I like to use a word for the start of every year. And when 2020 started, my word of the year was abundance. In every aspect, not just professionally, but personally also. 5 years of business has definitely molded me. I've learned so much. I'm still learning. And I think that that's the beauty in entrepreneurship and owning a business, is that staying open to learning new things is always something that you should be doing. I like to learn from my peers, people who have been in, this business world longer than me. But yeah, it has definitely shifted. My eyes are more open. I'm actually more like vulnerable. I'm listening to my customers more. I'm moving when I want to move. I'm shifting as I want to shift. I'm in control of my business, and honestly, it's probably this year has been the most sure that I've ever been as a business owner.
So I want to take it back to your journey and just even starting Lit Brooklyn. What made you start Lit Brooklyn? Was there a pivot? Were you working a 9-to-5? Did you say, you know what, I'm a bet on myself? What was the journey to Lit Brooklyn?
So prior to starting Lit Brooklyn, I actually was in retail. I was in high-end retail, and that was my first. It was a commission base, so like I was making, I think 2% off of every sale, and mind you, like the cashmere sweaters were like $1,000. So I'm like, damn, people got $1,000 spent on cashmere. That's crazy.
Crazy.
So that was my first introduction into luxury, and first introduction into like people are literally going to spend their money regardless of how expensive something is on something that they love. And I had reached, I guess, a ceiling at that job. I had learned everything that there was to learn, and I felt like I wanted to expand. So I had quit my job prematurely. I think that I had jumped into the quitting your job phase before it became a thing. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was out of work probably for a few months. And then one day I was having a conversation with Kyrie, who is my husband now, but we were having a conversation. And I literally was like, what if I started candles? And he was like, sure. And looking back at that day and that conversation, I will always say you need a partner that's going to be supporting you regardless of how ridiculous your ideas sound at the moment, because first of all, candles take a science. It's something that I was not a professional at. It took a lot of trial and error. But now I feel like I could pour candles in my sleep. So
Period.
okay. But that starting Lit Brooklyn, honestly, what it was, I loved candles. I loved the way that it made me feel. I remember spending my whole check when I was in college on candles, and it was just something that it just calmed you. Like candles lit in your crib, wherever you at, is just a vibe. So it's just, I wanted to give that feeling to people, that feeling that I felt like I wanted to be able to have that with people. And, you know, being 5 years in, like it never gets old with customers hitting me up via DM, email, telling me that this candle was a part of their nightly routine, or someone got ordered the candles for like wedding favors. Like, so I'm so fortunate to be a part of these memorable moments in people's everyday lives, honestly.
What surprises you the most about who you were, or you don't even recognize anymore about who you were since you started Lit Brooklyn, and how that's changed you because of the business?
My strength, my perseverance, my willingness to I would say my strength. You never really know how strong you are till you are given bullshit. Till people are trying to like pull the rug from underneath your feet, till your back is against the wall. You really never know how strong you are. And 5 years in business, like I definitely, like my muscle has definitely been tested. And I always say that there's nothing that I can't overcome. So yeah, I definitely developed a strength. I did not know that I had it in me, but no one ever knows what they have in you until you really like your back is against the wall. So it would be my strength.
It's very clear when you say, you talked about your support system earlier, and then you talk about listening to your customers. I did want to talk about, you know, first of all, we stand 10 toes down with the Lit Brooklyn. We was just arguing about it earlier, talking about the best scent, which is Muse. But
Which is
I had to throw that in there. No, which is Muse. But I wanted to talk about what advice would you give a business owner trying to find their true community, how to go about doing that?
That's a really good question. The advice I would give business owners trying to find their community is to be yourself. I speak to my customers as like I speak to my friends, you know, and I think that that's very important. I see a lot of people trying to portray an image that they're not. And one thing with business, you're going to get exposed regardless of not. So I'm a proud Brooklyn girl, and I speak to my customers like I would speak to my friends. I would speak in my group chat. Like I use lingo that we're using now. Just be yourself. I feel like you will attract your tribe, you will attract your community, and they're going to support you. And honestly, there's so much fake shit happening anyways that people appreciate just someone being genuinely themselves.
Right. Yes.
So
yes, absolutely.
You guys are asking some really good questions.
We do this.
Thanks,
we do this.
I mean, you come here for the questions.
Okay.
Questions.
Right. Right. And also, I guess I have another question, because you talk about leaving your job and pursuing a dream. For someone who may think the risk might outweigh the reward, right? That it's not worth it. What would you say to them? Because, you know, people talk themselves out of their dream every day. People talk themselves out of doing something that may provide them happiness for the rest of their life because they're afraid of taking a chance on themselves. So because you took a chance on yourself, Dee, I always knew that you were strong. I always knew that you were strong. But, you know, what can you give to someone, who's trying to bust out of that and seek true joy, true freedom?
I will say that something that always rings true in my head is that no risk, no reward. We never know what's on the other side of anything, and the worst thing that we ever want to do in life is to have any regrets. So I started this business. I leaped into it. I wouldn't even say leaped into it. Actually, I was watching a friend have an interview yesterday, and she said that she didn't take a leap. And sometimes it's better to refer to the big things that we do in our life as not taking a leap, but taking it one step at a time. And I think that that's so important, because a leap sounds so scary, but if you're taking one foot in front of the other, it kind of just like, it makes it less scary, and we think that things are more crazier than they seem. Another thing that I want to say is that one of my friends, Maddie James, you guys probably know her on
shout out to
Instagram.
Maddie James.
I love her. She's so
shout out to Maddie James. She posted something. I'm going to read it to you guys really quickly. So she said, she read this week that a rock sculpture can hit a rock 100 times and not see a dent or even a break. But that 101st time, the rock breaks. And it wasn't that one hit that did it. It was everything that was done before that. And I think that that rung true because in entrepreneurship and business, people want to give up so easily, right? But there's so much reward in it. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had given up at a year, I wasn't making no money in a year, 2 years, but I believed in me. You know what I'm saying? I knew I was lit before Beyonce knew I was lit, So it's just literally just having belief in yourself. You really just have to. I always knew I was born lit. Flame was already lit. But you got to hype yourself up and you got to know who you are before the world tells you who you are, because the world is always going to tell you who you are. The world is always going to tell us, especially as Black women, we're not this, we're not that, we're not. So it's like having that reassurance and that confidence, especially stepping into business, is very important. So
now you just said something that rang all of our ears. And of course, we needed that good news through this pandemic. So what was your reaction like when the queen herself, well, of course it wasn't her, but I'm just saying it was her.
It was her. It was Beyonce.
It was her.
How did you feel having that accolade happen in the midst of all the people hitting you up about their packages, in the midst of people saying all the things on social media? What was that feeling like in that moment?
I could bring you guys back to actually the moment. So I was at my in-laws' house in their backyard. And if anybody knows my father-in-law, he's very very proud of his things. So he hooked up a whole gazebo. He knew we were in a pandemic. He had a whole gazebo. We had an outdoor fire pit. And we're listening to music and my phone just starts going off. And they were like, yo, you're on Beyonce's website. And I was like, what? I was so confused. And I'm always prepared. I had a bottle of Douce, so I was like, "Oh, this is crazy." But I honestly, I didn't believe it at first. The site was taking so long to log on, and people were sending me screenshots. So I was like, maybe it was just I don't know. I didn't believe it. It was so hard to believe. It was just like Beyonce, my hoe's wife,
Talk
Brooklyn,
about it.
What? This is crazy. But I knew that everything that I, with any accolade, with any mention, with anyone who's talking about your brand, I knew that I was doing the work, and sometimes the greatest accomplishments do happen when you're not even ready for them. You're not even paying attention. Your head is so knee down into the work that oh shit, Beyonce noticed me. Why wouldn't she notice me? She's Beyonce, but I'm Denequa. Why wouldn't she notice? And honestly too, a lot of my peers were on the list also. And
yes,
first of all, so many of my friends were on the list and I was so happy for them, but it was I'm pretty sure they had moments of doubt also. They were also head down, they were also doing the work, and that was just another nod in the belt, it was just crazy. Now I just need her to tell Hope to put it in a verse, and then I'm gonna just fucking retire.
It's lit.
Then I'm gonna be done.
It's lit.
I don't even care how he says it. Blue could say it. Sir could say it. Rumi could say it. Somebody from the Carter household just needs to say it. and I'm gonna be good.
I have to ask D, because you are a one-woman show. I ask you all the time how you are able to operate such a successful brand that is literally one of the leading candle companies out here, when there are a lot of candle companies, okay? But Brooklyn is leading, okay, period.
Sells out in 3 minutes.
How do you do it by yourself? Take me through a day-to-day, honestly, of what it's like to run your business. What is your day-to-day hustle for Lit Brooklyn?
Day-to-day hustle for Lit Brooklyn. No 2 days are definitely ever the same. I think that I am finally getting a hang of what time management really means. And I won't be doing it by myself for too much longer. Like, COVID definitely changed that. Like, in the beginning of the year, I definitely had plans to, have more hands on deck. But I also don't bite off more than I can chew. Like, I know what I am capable of doing. I know what I'm able to do. And sometimes I blow my own mind. I definitely say a lot of prayers. I definitely say a lot of prayers, but I also want to mention that I don't primarily do everything by myself. Like, like, there are moments where, like, I have, like, my cousins, my friends come over, somebody's taping boxes, someone is double checking, someone is reminding me about checking an email, reminding me to eat. So it's like, granted, I am running this business by myself, but I do have a support system. So that definitely, I want to just put that out there, that does help me run my business too. Like, getting motivation from, like, my friends, or, like, people sharing, whatever it is that is helping my business. So granted, it looks like a one woman show, but I couldn't do this without everyone's help. So.
Also, to touch on millennial marriage and having the most supportive husband that you have is important too as an entrepreneur. Like, talk about that part of it, because we've seen it, but Kyrie plays a huge role in Lit Brooklyn as well. You just posted the other day when y'all was leaving the shipments. Like, talk about Kyrie has been to transition from being boyfriend and girlfriend, getting married, and managing this budding business as a millennial. And I know millennial is such our buzzword, but it is what it is.
I would definitely say that to even get to that point, communication has always been something that we stressed a lot. So this is our 12th year together. So we went through college together, and I think clearly every relationship is going to have their moments, their ups and their downs. But one thing that was always rang true was communication. And that actually came from Kyrie's end. Like, I was always the person, because, I'm from a Caribbean background, and we don't talk things out. We either stop speaking to each other and then we start back talking and never discuss the issue. And with Kyrie, I don't know, like, he always made me a priority. He made me view life differently. He made me, like, look at things through his eyes. And I think when you have a partner who is seeing how busy you are, who, especially as a Black man, like, not being intimidated by your success or the things that you're doing, is super important. He's not afraid to get in the mud. He's not afraid to cheer me on. He's, like, literally my biggest supporter. And I think that I probably wouldn't be half of the woman that I am without his support. It's crucial to have this support. It's very critical. So even in transitioning, to go back to your question, Safira, we were boyfriend and girlfriend. We were Batman and Robin. Like, we're not, whatever I'm doing, he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was never a room or moment for doubt. If I said I wanted to hit this target, hit this goal, it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna see when you do it. It's when we do it, So I never really felt that, like, there was a transition. We got married, and you guys were at our wedding. We got married, and it was like, I'm marrying my best friend. Like, it was like, there was no transition. Like, when they say you go from girlfriend to wife, like, we woke up the next day from being husband and wife, and I was like, this is my nigga. Like, like, there was no, like, okay, now you're a wife. Now you got to have this dinner cooked. Nah, I'm not cooking dinner every day. Like, nothing is not changing. Like, so I think that was important. Knowing who I am, he knows who he is, and we just, we know our roles, and I think that's very important. There's no, like, we don't even have like gender roles in our house. Like, if you want to bust the dishes down, you want to clean the bathroom, whatever it is. Like, I think the true success is having clear communication, and I'm very blessed in that department that we're able to communicate even when it's difficult, even when it's hard, even when it's like, I hate you right now, you know, because there are moments like that too. So I would say communication.
So I want to come and touch to that, because it seems so your wife, you're entrepreneur, you're existing in a social media world, you're existing in just the world. What does, and to backtrack, that all can be something that can lead up to burning yourself out by working too hard or doing too much. What does your self-care routine look like when it comes to being all of those things? How do you make time for Denequa through the hustle and through the relationships?
I like to get up very early and sit in silence.
What time is early?
Like 5:30, 6 o'clock.
I like that. I like it.
Silence to me is self-care. Like, where I can just, I don't want to hear Call of Duty. I don't want to hear no damn 2K. I don't even want to hear my dog breathing. I don't want to see no candle wax. I just want silence, complete silence. So that's what self-care looks like to me. It's taking time for myself. It's like penciling myself in on the calendar. It's literally going out to eat by myself, because those moments are very important. It's very often that, you know, women, you know, whether it is you become a business owner or you're in a relationship or whatever it is, or a mother, you get so lost in these titles. And I always told myself that I'm never going to get so lost in everything that I forget about Denequa. So I always make time for Denequa. Like, except when I have deadlines, clearly, but I will sleep in. I take a long ass hot shower. I will take myself out to dinner. I will finish a whole bottle of wine. I will watch somebody's show. I am always making time for Denequa. I think it's important. You know, like, the narrative has always been that women lose themselves. I'm not losing myself to, like, not my business, not my relationship, not nothing. Like, that's non-negotiable.
But I do want to quickly just ask a quick question to follow that up. Boundaries. How do you set boundaries within your business? Because that is, I would assume, hard for some people who are entrepreneurs and have to rely on that form of income to survive. How do you still set those boundaries?
I'm now learning how to set boundaries. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. Like, setting boundaries has always been something so hard for me. I don't know how to say no. So I'm learning. I think it's a daily thing. You want to be able to be as present as possible, as there as possible. And sometimes it's hard, but I'm learning by putting myself first. Like, I always think, okay, how is Denequa benefiting from this? And if I can't, like, answer myself in 3 ways, then it's just going to be a no. But I'm learning. It's something new for me. I will say that. I don't want to lie and say, like, I know what boundaries look like, because I'm still learning.
I appreciate that.
Did want to talk about Denequa, the creator, where art imitates life, right? You are able to tell stories through candles, and I think that's phenomenal. Okay, so the fact that, you know, you have one dedicated to your father, you have, you know, some candle scents to me that tell me a story about Denequa that I probably didn't know. How are you able to show yourself through candles and through scents?
Took the
That's a good question. When it comes to choosing the scents, it's like a storyline for me, honestly. I think that, like, I'm inspired by everything. So, like, for instance, first of all, I want to shout out my friends from Tier. I'm in their office right now, and I'm probably grasping inspiration from this office right now too, but it's moments in life. So my Irie candle, that's a collaboration I did with an amazing illustrator, Deborah Cartwright. I was in Jamaica for my, thank you, Gia, for the visual. I was in Jamaica for my 26th birthday, and I was lit. Y'all know what lit mean. I was in Jamaica. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sis.
I had exactly. I had a coconut with the people Appleton rum in it, and I was just in a vibe, and I'm like, yo, like I want to create a candle that reminds me of this trip. So I was like, coconut definitely has to be in it. Hibiscus is Jamaica's national flower.
Yes.
So I knew I had to incorporate that into it. So it's literally just experiences. I did home, because I feel like that's what everyone's home should smell like. It's very warm, it's inviting. It's just, I'm done with Gia. I'm talking, and every candle I name, Gia is just pulling
I'm
up.
tight. I'm so tight.
Get you some friends, man.
Get you some friends, bro.
I'm waiting for her to bring up blush so I could reach back. Bring up blush. Tell us the story.
And blush, I just love, actually, talking about blush, and because this is Black Girl Podcast, blush is actually my dedication to Black women. Like, I feel like that's what Black women should smell like.
Beautiful.
So,
Wow. I have that
bars.
in the
That
other
would be
room.
your candle. Of course it would be your candle, Deani. Of course.
Of course.
I have a question about the best one, Hustle. When we talk, because the name of this show is Hustle, when we talk about hustle, right? What is, in your mind, the most important characteristic of a person who wants to be a hustler or be a successful entrepreneur or successful at their hustle? What is the most important characteristic that that person needs to have?
Yeah.
The most important characteristic that a hustler should have is integrity.
Ooh!
I think having integrity will definitely
Yes.
make you remember why you started. It's going to make saying no so much easier. I will say that I do see a lot of businesses saying yes to everything. They're doing things that do not align with their brand, and then they're like falling to the wayside, and they're not realizing that you cannot say yes to everything. You have to remember why you started. You have to know what your baseline is. Be true to your community. Be true to who you are, and yeah, a lot of people lack integrity,
Yes, Lord,
and it's
Jesus.
showing. You know, it's very telling. You could say yes to something, and it could be, for example, I'm not going to say any names, obviously, but I had an opportunity. The way that it was pitched to me was before exposure, and because they love to tell you about exposure, and to any business owner, it sounds, oh my God, like, of course I want more eyes on me, right? After doing my own research, I realized that this brand is a supporter of a person in the office that I don't support.
Yep.
So I cannot align my brand with that. I don't care what exposure looks like. I know that I have a responsibility to my audience I'm a Black woman first, and then I'm a business owner.
Amen.
And even how I tell my story, it's very clear. Like, I'm for Black people first, like, I am very clear on my mission. I'm very clear on what I stand for. And if I didn't have integrity, I would say yes to anything. So, in small, Rebecca, to answer your question, integrity.
That was my
Gia,
question.
to answer your
Girl,
question.
dang.
Yes, Gia, that was a good question.
Thank
yes.
you.
But integrity is very important as a hustler.
I do want to just
Incredible.
insert one. I've noticed about you, Dee, that in the past year, there's been a shift, even in how you post and what you share and what you share on social media. Was there a specific instance that happened or conversation you had with yourself that kind of catapulted you into this next phase of you? There's something like, because there's a difference within a year. Has that happened? Correct me if I'm wrong, because you do feel different.
Thank you for being observant, and clearly someone who is visually, you pay attention to visuals, that's something that you definitely would notice. I'm just more sure of myself. I am becoming the best version of myself, and I am, unapologetic with it.
Amen.
So if that's what you're referring to, yes, I am. There was a difference. There is a shift. There is a change. There is something new happening. And I think that quarantine has been this has been the best thing to happen to the world. Obviously not the lives that were lost, because clearly, like, we would want people to still be here. But in terms of the solitude that we all needed, that we didn't know that we needed, the silence that we were forced to have, the stillness that we pray for but never make time for, that we had no choice but to get.
God.
Yeah, COVID-19 was definitely a blessing. Quarantine was a blessing. And if you didn't come out of this a different person for the better, you literally, I don't know what you were doing, like this was a very pivotal moment for everyone. The entire world was on shutdown, and it forced me. I know I took the time to look deeper into myself, take time with myself, be gentle with myself, and just realize why I reacted to certain things in the way I did. I'm approaching things with more grace, with more certainty. I'm coming to people with more compassion, more understanding. So it's definitely a shift. I'm not the same person that, I was when this year started. Not even the same person I was last week. I'm open to changing. I'm open to evolution. I'm opening to be whoever God wanted me to be. And in order for me to be that person, I got to be open to the universe. I got to be open to like receiving everything that he wants from me. I started this year with abundance, so I have to that mind frame is not changing for me. It doesn't matter. COVID-19 couldn't have shifted that. Quarantine couldn't have shifted that. Thank God the election went in our direction. But even if that didn't, that couldn't have shifted that. I'm just so focused that it's like nothing could knock me off where I'm at right now.
Amen.
Talk about it.
Love confidence. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dee.
So proud.
Like you killed it. We're so proud of you. Like, so good.
This is so beautiful.
We gotta have you do something with us more. Yes. We're so proud of you. It's the confidence we need, literally. But thank you for being here.
I appreciate you guys for having me. Rebecca, Gia, Safira, Diani, Alicia, you guys all have a special place in my heart. I love you guys. I'm so proud to call you guys friends. And individually, you guys are fucking killing it. Collectively, you guys are doing amazing things. And I will never get tired of saying that I'm so proud of you guys. You guys know that. Yeah. I love y'all. And thank you for inviting me to be in the know with Verizon Media.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's the outro. We love you so much.
Better than that. But if you guys, thank you so much, Dee, for joining us today. The gem.
Thank you.
Nonstop. Thank you so much. But if you there, if you want to gain more information about the episode or want to see more episodes, be sure to visit intheknow.com. My name is Bex Francois.
I'm Scotty Beam.
I'm Gia Peppers.
I'm Safira M.
And I'm Alicia P. Till next time.
Bye.